Hi there, I'm here with Dan Kelly. Hi Dan.
Right, lovely to be here.
Beautiful weather. We're going to look at 6 horses that we think have a live chance at the 2014 Cheltenham Festival. I'll kick off with Boston Bob, and I know you're all laughing at me, but I'll tell you why I like him. So if we work backwards and look at what he's done so far, second in an Albert Bartlett in 2012, you can actually think that was quite a good performance because he was a very, very sick horse. He didn't go to the Punchestown Festival afterwards. If you look at his form last year as a novice chaser, 2 runs over an inadequate trip, shall we say, at Navan and Leopardstown, but the heavy going definitely brought his stamina into play. Lined up for the 3-mile Royal and Sun Alliance novice chase on the second day of the Cheltenham Festival, made a beautiful sweeping move around the entire field and was booked for certain victory before coming down at the last. Very fence there before me. I actually think that Boston Bob will line up in the Gold Cup here at Cheltenham next March. I'm not saying he can beat Bobsworth, but I think he can fill a place. And just looking at the prices, he's 25 to 1. I would at this stage put an each way on that. So I know you think I'm all mad, but Boston Bob, he'll be back. He'll be back to prove everybody wrong, and he would have won the RSA. Dan?
Yeah, I think just going back with the RSA chase itself, I think it was a nice novice hurdler last year, which was African Gold. It's been bought out by Di Walters, so he'll be sporting the famous colours which were by Oscar Whiskey in the Aintree Hurdle. I think last year he didn't see a course until May.
Yep.
So given the progression which he started off in handicap company of 118, the form which gets ranked throughout the season. You look at Close Touch, who won the EBF final at Sandown. So the fact that obviously a big money purchase like African Gold, still with Nigel Twiston Davies, who obviously does well with his novice chasers. I think he's going to be playing a big part throughout the whole season and come March in the RSA chase itself.
Yeah, I would agree, absolutely. He's definitely on my shortlist for the RSA. We're going to also look at a horse that's been to Cheltenham twice and has won twice. He is a bit of an obvious, but I'm talking about Champagne Fever. Won the Champion Bumper in 2012 and won the Supreme Novices in 2013. It's actually the Supreme Novices victory that I want to go back to. This horse is bred to be a staying chaser. He's from the family of Belmont King, who won a Scottish National, and he's a half-brother to Presenting Forever. Normally fast-run 2-mile novice event I think that's pretty impressive, really, if you look at his breeding. I know that we're looking ahead at the 2014 Gold Cup, but with Champagne Fever, I would actually look at the 2015 Gold Cup because I actually think he's going to win that. If we look at the 2014 Festival, I think you can absolutely have you can have your house on him for whatever he lines up in, be it the Arkle or be it the RSA. Dan?
I love your confidence, for starters. Talking about the actual Supreme Novices last year, I thought Jeski was the one for me which I'm looking to take out the race, especially for the Champion Hurdle this year. I think before the turn of the year he ran 3 or 4 times over hurdles. Before his hurdle debut he ran in a maiden, so obviously he needs a run before coming into the big festival. I think that was the thing which caught him last year. He was bought in the new year by JP McManus. Normally they'd go the Deloitte Novices hurdle with Champagne Fever one and then come here to the Supreme, but for the actual Supreme, like I say, he didn't come in for the run. He looked as very gassy, didn't catch some of his hurdles quite right, and you saw the benefit of the run in the Punchestown. So for me, he's probably going to be taking on your boy Hurricane Fly in the Irish Champion before coming over for the Champion Hurdle itself. But as you say, the actual strength and depth of the Supreme last year is very deep, and over fences with Champagne Fever or over hurdles with Jeski and My 10 or Yours, I think it's going to be a very good season where the form does hold up pretty well.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to take out of the Jessie Harrington's comments out of the Supreme. She feels as though Jeski wasn't actually ridden to actually sit on Champagne Fever enough. She did actually come out and say that, and obviously Jeski did turn over the form at Punchestown.
I think we've talked off air about the fact Ruby Walsh is one of the best jockeys around here. I think if you look at for clip, you saw him in the Champion Hurdle taking a pull coming to the top of the hill when other jockeys wouldn't. I've researched the Harry Derham comment to Salubrious when he won the race there, and he turned around and said Ruby just said that just let them come down the hill, don't force it, and then they'll come back up for you. And they did exactly the same in the Supreme, where he made his move at the right time, and it was just everything just fitted into place for Champagne Fever and Ruby Walsh. And Ruby Walsh being obviously full time now at the Mullins Yard, it's going to be beneficial not only for Champagne Fever's charge, but anyone connected to the yard, horses and owners.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I can't wait to see more of the Mullins charges coming over here. That's going to be fantastic. Okay, so number 3 for me is David Pipehorse, the Liquidator. Now, this first horse first caught my eye in a bumper at Fairyhouse. It was, I believe, it was Easter Monday. He finished closely in behind Clondor Kempfer and actually split Clondor Kempfer and Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is a horse that I'm very keen on for handicaps this season, but we'll keep talking about the Liquidator. He was 4th in the champion bumper here. That was after he ran the open meeting at Cheltenham, 2nd to the ill-fated Anonis. That was in pretty desperate ground. He then won an Exeter bumper before running up the hill to finish 4th in the champion bumper. He then went to Punchestown, and well, the ride that Jane Mangan gave him that day was just absolutely phenomenal. One of the rides of the seasons for me. He is quoted in markets for the Supreme Novices and the Neptune. It's quite a nice price. He's like 25-33 to 1. I can't understand it. He is going to be a novice hurdler to be reckoned with. So it's the Liquidator, my number 3 horse. Dan?
Yeah, well, for me it's the same, going up the bumper routes. It's Oscar Rock. I know there's a few people who've said, well, fill you in the background. Oscar Rock was moved because the owners moved. Some of their businesses are moved themselves up further north, so it's left Harry Fry's and it's gone to Malcolm Jefferson's. Some people do think that is possible negative, but not for me. I think if you look at the fact that 2 years ago Malcolm Jefferson had a double with At a Glance and Cape Tribulation, obviously this year in the Argento Chase, you can see that you can prime them up for the big day, so there's no issues there. And if you look through its form is solid. It started off in a not a great bumper, but he performed it well. Then next time he stepped up again at Newbury, he beat Gone Too Far of Alan King's JP McManus. I think they've got high hopes for him, for that horse this season. I think it's one of Alan King's one to follow. And he franked it again. Oscar Rock, he came and won the listed bumper at Newbury in February. Now, if you look at the strength and depth of that form, behind him that day you had the 1, 2, 3 in the entry bumper. Obviously the ill-fated Killiglass, it's sad to see him go, but you everywhere you look at his form, his strength and depth, and it just oozes class. So for me, it's going to be a Neptune type, 2 mile 5 on Albert Bartlett type, obviously, rather than the Supreme. So it's not a sharp test. He doesn't want a sharp test. But if you look at the fact of what Harry Fry did, where it was very easy on him, then I think it's going to be the benefit of Malcolm Jefferson. So good things hopefully from him this year.
Brilliant, thanks Dan. Okay, just to run through those again. So our 6 horses for Cheltenham mine are Boston Bob, Champagne Fever and the Liquidator. Dan?
African Gold, Jeski and Oscar Rock.
Brilliant, thanks very much.